Welcome to Startups for the Rest of Us. I'm your host, Rob Walling. This is the podcast where I help developers, designers, and entrepreneurs be awesome at building, launching, and growing software products. Today, I interview Philippe Lehoux, the co-founder of Missive, about how he and his two co-founders bootstrapped to $8 million in ARR and 16 team members. It's a really interesting story, and what an incredible amount of leverage they have as founders to be able to build such an incredibly profitable bootstrapped company. Before we dive in to their story, if you're a SaaS founder doing at least $1 million in ARR, you should check out the SaaS Institute. That's at saasinstitute.com. This is my premium coaching program where you get access to top-tier coaches, seasoned mentors, and a curated community of founders. We give you the support and the connection that, frankly, it's very hard to find anywhere else. It's an application-only community, and we want to get you the systems and the support that you need to scale from 1 million to 10 million and beyond. We have founders in the program doing all manner of revenue. It's not just $1 million, but we have people doing $4, $5, $6 million. And you'll be grouped into a highly curated mastermind. You will have one-on-one coaching. We have some incredible coaches. And of course, you'll be able to get advice from me. That's saasinstitute.com if you want to check it out and apply. It's great because it's still early, so it's a small group, and it's, again, really highly curated and high value. saasinstitute.com. And with that, let's start my conversation with Philippe about how they bootstrapped Missive to $8 million of ARR. Philippe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Rob.
Great to have you on here, man. As someone who has bootstrapped a company to 8 million in ARR, my numbers from producer Ron were 7 million, and you're like, nah, it's more than that now. Impressive, man. And let's talk about your H1 here on your website, missiveapp.com. And your H1 is inbox collaboration for teams that run on email. See what's going on, know who's doing what, and collaborate behind the scenes without changing your workflow. So I kind of understand what you do from that. And I know of other apps that do this. I think of like Front is one that I know where it's like inbox collaboration. Would you equate Missive to being in that category?
Yeah, definitely. One big difference, I think there's no product like Missive in that aspect, is we really respect the email aspect of it. So any action you do in Missive, we really work hard to make it work with your email server. So whatever you do in Missive, and there's a lot that can happen because it's a collaborative tool, we sync it back to your email servers, which is mostly not the case now with those bigger collaborative solutions.
They do it all in the browser type thing? Like you have to use the app?
Well, some will just not sync both ways.
I see.
Like basically, they will ingest the emails and apply collaboration in, but that don't deal with like the syncing, which kind of is hard to not become a mess.
Yeah.
So if you use Missive, you can use it for 5 months, and then like all your emails are still in your email server. Everything is archived and marked as read as it should. So we really respect that aspect of it.
Okay. And when I think about this space, there's a lot of competitors that do something similar to this. I even think of this being like a support inbox for a SaaS company, of course, because that's where my mind goes. And if we go into, if support is a category, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of competitors. How have you possibly bootstrapped into this space to 8 million ARR? Your team size is 16, fully remote or mostly remote. More than 4,500 customers with 30,000 users, net negative churn. How did you get here? It feels like an impossible thing these days.
I would say one step at a time, but I know it's not a good answer, but we always respected the email aspect of it. We're an email client first and foremost, right? So when you start using Missive, even if you're a solo user, we want to make it a great experience. And I think there's a lot of businesses in that space that kind of forget that first and foremost, they're an email client, right? We're not like a customer support help desk. We're an email client with collaboration. A lot businesses prefer to use that over a help desk because they do a lot of emails in a lot of contexts, not just support, right? And the other aspect is we embrace that we are SMBs, like small and medium. We don't really go towards the enterprise market, even though we do have bigger customers now. Because for the smaller businesses, one of their main issue in life right now is that they have too many tools. And they certainly use email for communication. And they also need to chat. And with Missive, you can kind of do both. So you can pretty much ditch a lot of silos by basically just using our app. And by respecting email, you can actually stop using your Outlook or your Gmail. So it's one less place to go look at things. And I think for those reasons, we were able to kind of create a lot of loyalty by our customers. There's a lot of customers that would say, like, every time I check my SaaS bills, like, Missive clearly is the only one I wouldn't change. Like, I'm too dependent on it. There's nothing else on the market. And it's sometimes hard to realize, like you said, like there's a lot of competitors, but there's not a lot that respect email and the email aspect of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I would not have thought of that as a unique selling proposition, that respecting email would be the big deal. Now, did you build Missive for yourself, for a need that you had at a prior company? Yeah, let's talk through that, because the inception of the idea, I think, is intriguing. And then next I'm going to ask, like, how'd you get your first 50 customers, But yeah, talk us through where the idea came from and why you built it.
Basically, me and my two co-founders, we were building another project called conferencebatch.com, which got to profitability quite quickly. And quickly we were like, that's a done product. We want to work on something else. And we start to brainstorm, like a lot of indie hackers would do. Like, you spend weeks trying to find your next ideas. And for us at one point, it was just me doing a lot of typos in my emails. And my co-founders would be like, man, you're so, like, wouldn't it be nice if we could just, like, a Google Doc, just collaborate on your draft? That was before AI, obviously. So nowadays typos are a bit harder to do, but previously, and that was the first prototype. Let's do a collaborative draft editors connected to Gmail. And then we're like, well, that's not kind of like, okay, let's build an email client over it. And then, let's chat. And then slowly the prototype become a full-fledged email client. And when we launch a collaborative email client.
And with Conference Badge, then, you said it was a done product, which I find to be, it's kind of an interesting concept. But folks who listen to this show are well familiar with the stair-step method of entrepreneurship that I've been talking about for almost 15 years now, where you start something and usually eventually it just has a limit, and you kind of can't push it past that without making a serious change to it, adding a second product or really changing what it does or expanding. Was Conference Badge kind of like that, where it was just a limited, it was a single feature or a couple features, and once it was done, it was done? What did it do?
Yeah, basically it was like Vistaprint for badges. So you would go there, connect your Eventbrite, and then design a couple of different badges, and then like associate like through a spreadsheet or your Eventbrite data. Okay, so those guys should have that badge, those one, this one, and then we would print and ship them.
And so you built Missive to help you with Conference Badge, and then so now you have one customer, which is you. How did you find your next 50 or 40, 30, whatever number makes sense?
It's funny because it's been 10 years now we've been building Missive, right? So it's kind of a blur, but the beginnings were hard. I remember launching and I was still like the product and craze. I think we found our first customer, Canny, which is still a customer. Canny is like a feedback board that we still use at Missive. And those guys found us through our product on launch. And I think that after that launch, what I did is that every single time people were talking about email issues related to businesses, I would just jump in the Twitter thread and just mention my product. And to my surprise, initially, like 99% of the time, people were really excited about it. And maybe the product wasn't mature enough for them, but they would like, oh, that's a pretty cool concept, right? So it gave us the fuel to kind of persist and go to our first 50 customer and whatnot. And the second phase of growth was riding the wave of investment from like big Silicon Valley startups, like that would raise a lot of money and like kind of build that collaborative space. And for us as a bootstrap company, we didn't have any, dollars, marketing dollars. But because those startups like Front, Superhuman, were kind of like creating a lot of content about email and collaboration, we were able to kind of inject ourselves in those conversations, put on the SEO aspect, but also like in social media, but not a lot of dollars. we could insert ourselves in the conversation of people that knew they had a problem, right? They knew they needed a solution, and they found those like big startup VC-backed solution and us. And that really helped us get to like that first $1 million. Like that one versus page with both Superhuman and Front probably drove like most of our initial customers.
Got it. Yep. The versus pages are big. And so people were finding, did you have Superhuman versus Front? Was that the versus?
No, it was, we were worded like Superhuman alternative, Front alternative.
The alternative to. Yep. Yeah, versus works better when you are a brand. Like now, people are searching for Missive, but alternative twos are a big one. So alternative twos.
And back in the days, like those versus page, you would find them obviously already at that point, but they were pretty simple, like just bullet points and the same one for every single competitors. In our case, it was like a 5,000 words essay, like all of the feature, how they are better in Front, but better in Missive, and always keeping that we're an email client first, right? Maybe you should go for those guys if you're for those things, but if you really want to be email first, you should at least try us and play with it.
Yeah. Again, coming back to that unique selling proposition, I have entrepreneurs who either come on the show or who I advise. And a big thing I talk to them about, especially with SaaS, is I don't mind if you copy another product or enter a category that exists. But the big question is, if you copy or if you do something similar, why would anyone use you? And don't tell me it's because you're cheaper. Like, what are you actually doing differently, right? Once you have a brand, you're doing millions a year, you have thousands of customers, it becomes different. People use you because you are Salesforce or because you're Missive and they just know it and you're in the conversation, right? But to get there has to be some compelling reason. And it can be UX, but it's often not enough. That's not a defensible, you know what I mean? There's and it sounds like for you, it just keeps being the email first, the respect for the email inbox and the server, as you said, you sync it all back. Did you ever consider, because you're a horizontal tool, did you ever consider like niching down and attacking just a few verticals? Or were you horizontal from the start and that's just worked for you?
Yeah, I'm a pretty stubborn guy, and like that has been, a lot of people would say that to me, like, oh, you should go like transportation business, like build a one collaboration inbox for them or lawyers or whatnot. And I was like, nah, I like being the like Gmail or Outlook for businesses. Like, I was building a product for me first and foremost. Like we like building it because we use it on a daily basis, like hours a day. Still today, obviously we do emails in it, but we do every single thing about the business in it. It's like our Slack, like we do everything. So it would be like sad for me to sell and stop working on that thing.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Email is a space, having built myself an ESP, it's a space where you can have a lot of success in net negative churn as a horizontal play. There are other spaces where that's harder. There's something about that stickiness of email, and it's so permanent. I mean, you see this. You have someone who's been with you for 10 years. Your very first customer is still a customer. That's it's a huge testament to your product and your support, but also to the space.
And there's a big bar to entry. I mean, just try to remember how many email client has launched in the last 5 years that you can remember. It's not a lot. It's just because it's really long to get something that work. And so for that reason, that made us defensible, right? There's not a lot of competition.
The roadmap for a horizontal product can be tough. You are getting a lot of feature requests. I'm guessing you're going to have a real estate agent asking for an MLS integration and a support team asking for SLA timers and marketing team asking for social media, just all the features all the time. How do you do this? How do you decide which ideas to build, which are distractions? Do you have a framework for triaging?
Well, initially it was mainly, do I want this for me as well? Right? Because you get bombarded with feature requests, but because you use your product a lot, you're like, wow, I wouldn't use that myself. So nah, I don't care. And to be truthful, at first, you pretty much say yes to everything because like you really want those first customers, right? But as you grow, it's just like the number of feature requests possible is to infinity. So there's just more and more. As you have more customer, there's more feature requests. And then it's pretty much becomes impossible. Even if we would add like 1,000 developers, we create a bad product. So as we grow, I go back to the first inch, which is like, would I use that myself? And it's the same conversation we have with the team when we're trying to understand what we should work on next. So there's not a lot. complex roadmap, like, or complex workflow to decide what we're working on. It's pretty much like, like, of all the things we've received in the last few weeks, like, which one I think would improve our own workflow the most, and that's what we work on. That's the freedom also being bootstrapped. Like, there's a bit less pressure to get to certain milestones, so you don't have that pressure to sign that next big customer, to push that feature that you absolutely need. We don't really have that pressure, so it comes with disadvantage as well. But on the roadmap aspect, it gives us more time to reflect and not be pressured to push things that makes no sense.
Are you a non-technical founder with solid revenue and real traction, but your technology is holding you back? You should check out today's sponsor, Designli. They specialize in helping founders like you who are stuck with messy code, unclear roadmaps, or a dev team that just doesn't get it. And for listeners of the pod, Designli is offering their Impact Week completely free. That's a 1-week, no-obligation audit where their team dives into your code, your design system, and your product roadmap to show you exactly what's working, what's broken, and what needs to happen next. If it's a fit, you can move on to SolutionLab, a 3-week sprint where Designli takes over your codebase and architects a real roadmap for growth, led by a full-time, cross-functional team. This isn't just another dev shop cranking out features. Every sprint is tied to measurable business outcomes, so you can scale with confidence and enjoy the process. If your tech is the bottleneck to your next stage of growth, check them out at designli.co/fortherestofus. That's DESIGNLI.co/fortherestofus. Why did you never take investment? I'm sure that in the early days, if you were like me, you didn't know anybody with 2 coins to rub together and couldn't have raised funding, maybe. That was my situation for years. I bootstrapped 5 startups because of that. But the moment that you got any type of traction, I know that you were approached by angels, by VCs, by all kinds of stuff. So what made you decide not to take some funding?
I mean, initially we did apply to YC because for us it was like, oh, that's like, if we ever want to raise money, that's the school to go to. Because I don't know, like, I'm from Quebec City. I know nobody that raised money and whatnot. And those like didn't work out. We got to SF, did the interview, it didn't work out. And after that, we were like, well, we're making money with Conference Badge. We can sustain ourselves. We're a pretty lean, small team. So let's just get going as long as we can. And then we had a couple of conversations with VCs. But it was always like, like our growth rate, like, I mean, it's not like stellar. It's not like we're tripling the company every 6 months, right? So it wasn't like, they didn't fly to our door with money, right? It was like, hey, what's your name? Like, tell us our number. Like, maybe we should have another call and whatnot. And then after a few of those, we were like, well, that's leading to nowhere. If one day someone shows up at my door with money, maybe I'll consider it. I'll say that guy's really serious. But to that point, it's just like emails and phone calls. So you see, like, we're maybe not that sexy because we're bootstrapped, because we're doing the long game, right? And I think it kind of showed. They're not looking for that anyway.
And have you been approached by strategics or private equity that want to acquire you? And has that ever crossed your mind?
Oh, every day.
That's what I was guessing. Yeah. Has that ever, as someone who I didn't think I was going to sell my last company, and then I got 5 inbound, like serious inbound in 18 months, and was just like, maybe I should think about this. And then it was like, well, but I need this number that's obviously not going to happen. And then that number happened. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'm selling this. But I'm curious, how you're thinking about it.
Yeah, and I never got to those that deep in the conversation, right? So I receive a lot of emails, but obviously, like, you go to LinkedIn and those people, like, are just out of the university, mainly like harvesting deals, potential deals and whatnot. Sometimes it's for more senior people, and I might sometimes take those calls, but I'm always saying, like, I'm not interested to sell. Like, it's profitable, we're growing. And that's kind of the right playbook anyway, if you want a big number. So it's like, if someone is really interested in one day, like, it's going to show. And to this point, it's still like, nobody is really that interested. And I don't want to lose time digging into it too much. Like, I prefer investing my time in my business.
And I didn't ask you at the top, but do you have a co-founder, or are you solo?
Yeah.
You have a co-founder?
3 co-founders.
Three total?
3 total, yeah.
Okay. What are the role breakdowns? Like, I don't know if you have a development background or sales.
So all developers. So we all code still today.
Wow.
I'm the generalist. So initially I would do both, like, front end and back end code. And my other co-founder is like pull back in, we call is the CTO right now, really perfectionist, like makes things work perfectly. My other co-founder is a front-end master, so nails all details about the app itself. And that was a great combination. That would be the one who's more business oriented, like focus on growth. Let's move to the other stage of the business. And they're really the perfectionists that helped me make it happen. So we really have a great combination.
Yeah, it sounds like a very complementary skills, even though, because there's danger in having 2 or 3 developers as founders, is as build. Somebody has to be driving sales, and doing some marketing, which I guess it sounds like was that you? Were you more of the marketing sales side?
Yeah, it was me. But again, for some reason, I still feel I was doing that part-time for a lot of years. And I don't know if it's good, because if I ever start another business, to us, like the conclusion is kind of like we build it and they come, right? Which is usually not it, right? So
no, that's the message I don't want to spread on this podcast, because it's just I always say, well, you get a little lucky, you make yourself your own luck. But
I think the reality is that's kind of if you look back, I did a lot of things that are right. It's just that I don't consider them to me, marketing is like paid ads, right? It's not that, right? Like I really care about those versus page. I really care about those social media conversation. I did a lot of small things that to me weren't really like straight up big marketing. I don't even know today what is marketing really, like apart from building a great product and talking about it, which is probably just it, right? I'm not a marketing guy, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm not either. I'm classically a developer who now builds audiences and writes books and advises people. But when I had built a product and I loved it and I knew that it could help people, I couldn't stop talking about it. And so I would, it sounds like, do similar things to you where it's like, oh, there's a conversation on Reddit about XYZ or on X or on LinkedIn. And SEN content was a big thing for us. First it was written, and then I started a podcast, this very podcast that you're on. This is 15 years old now. And then YouTube channel now with 110,000 subscribers. That all kind of became a thing that I did. But what else did you do? I mean, you said the versus or the alternative 2 pages, which is content marketing. It's getting found in Google, and that stuff converts really well. And then social media, but it wasn't audience building. You don't have a big audience. It was participating in existing conversations. And it's probably Reddit, Product Hunt for sure, Hacker News, if something's up there.
Twitter.
Maybe, Twitter, maybe Quora back when it was a thing. It's much less of a concern now.
Yeah, a couple of posts, but also now we have an affiliate program that we built ourselves that we host in the app. And then people are like, why did you build your own affiliate program backend, right?
No one does that. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. The reason is privacy. Like we're always skeptical of like implanting like all the marketing toolkit in the app itself, just because we're dealing with sensitive stuff. So for us, like the app itself is free of any trackers. It's all on the website, and then we have kind of a flow to make it link to the registration that happened on the app and the app on the website. But in the app itself, there's nothing. And for that, we build it ourselves. I guess we could have not built it ourselves, but still to that day, it drives a lot of revenue. Maybe 30% of the growth now of the new users come from the affiliate program.
That's big. Now, did you typically affiliate marketing or affiliate programs is usually enterprise sales, because you have to go out and you have to find the affiliates and you have to recruit them almost, right? They're influencers, they're busy. They're not out there looking for affiliate. Has that been your experience as well?
Well, initially, a bit like, I guess we were stupid, is that there was no enforcement. You could actually take it and do ads yourself on the Missive term or brand or whatnot. So for us, it was like, we're just 3 guys. We don't have the time to do Google paid ads. Let's build the affiliate program so somebody can arbitrage it. And if they make money with it, fine with us, right? But at some point, we got a brand, right? We do have some brand recognition now. So there's a lot of people typing just Missive. So it started to make less sense. So we started to enforce, like, you guys, you can't actually advertise using Missive, right? You need to go for new customers. But I would say no, like most of the people that signs up through the affiliate programs are pretty classical Missive users, like SMBs, like that can be anything. They're really like lawyers, transportation business, mostly in the US, but also UK, Australia, like Anglosphere countries.
And so you must not have, there's typically with affiliate programs, there's a concentration where you have 1,000 affiliates and 3 of them drive 95% of your revenue, or something like that.
Yeah.
You do have that. So you have just a few. Yeah.
It's people that arbitrage the fact that we're bad at marketing and that we don't do paid marketing.
Got it. That's
still to this day. I mean, they're still profitable for them, even without using the Missive brand. So they were going to advertise on competitors in other countries, and they're really, this guy is a big nerd. He do that on the side. He work in Silicon Valley and probably make some money with us. I don't know how much, but yeah.
Well, I want to get back to this idea of, it being kind of difficult to be a horizontal product. And yet, you've been successful in spite of potential headwinds. Specifically, your marketing website has to speak to, it has to speak in language that works for a cajillion different job titles, for example. Like, how do you, when you think about writing homepage copy, how do you make it compelling and specific enough to be compelling, but general enough to be inclusive?
Yeah, so we're trying to verticalize some of our marketing nowadays. For instance, we did like a campaign with accountants, a couple of accountants, influencers did like YouTube videos, podcast mention, and then created dedicated landing page with a lot of quotes from existing customer. So both like the influencer words, like, hey, that's a pretty cool solution for your accountant problems. Because if I say it, I'm like Phil, the Missive developers. They don't trust me. So that's why we're trying to go to create vertical content through influencer. So we did accountant, that's working. We're going to do lawyers, and then we're looking for the other ones. But it's kind of really hard because there's so many possibilities that it's more about what type of influencer in each of those industries and which one are kind of respectable and have enough network that it can actually work for us. So we're playing with that. As for the home page itself, our goal was to make it about emails. Because you would be surprised how many people are like, well, I tried all those new products, but in the end, my business is always in email, and it just sucks to have to go to all of those other apps. So when you tell them, well, there's actually an app that respects email, but just make it a bit better that you could still use and like solve all of your email problems, because you have them, right? Everybody received too many emails and they're drowning and they can't collaborate and whatnot. So like sticking to the email messaging in the homepage, and then we're trying to create like vertical landing page for some industries. That's what we're trying now.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That's a playbook that I've seen work with horizontal folks. I guess I have a question about back to kind of building features. It's like you're not just competing with other horizontal tools, you're competing with probably 1,000 vertical specific tools. So like a law firm comes to use Missive, but they have legal practice management tool that probably has email built in. So what's the pitch for beating that?
A lot of those, for instance, we have an immigration law firm in New York. They're like 150 now in Missive. And the way they can use Missive and their other like more lawyer tool is that they build bridge in between the two solutions. So whatever they're doing in their more specialized app that they usually don't like, because when you're doing a vertical app, you have less incentive to make it right. Like you have less competition, right? So the UX is less good and whatnot. So Missive is their daily driver, and they're gonna create like integration with their own stack in Missive. So those bigger customers, that's what they're doing. But now because of AI, we're seeing even like smaller businesses, like 20 employees, building like really complex custom integration built in Missive with all the different tools in their stack. Like they would say, well, you guys had the Asana integration, but I actually wanted the Asana task plus mash it up with whatever backend I have. And I kind of did it with like ChatGPT, and now it's working, right? So Missive is their daily driver because of emails, and they're using the integration aspect to integrate themselves with their own stack. Initially, we were also building integration, but you can't build them all yourself, right?
Yeah, it just becomes too much at a certain point. Do you feel like staying horizontal has maybe even provided you a form of defensibility? Like, does it make you less vulnerable to shifts in any single industry, as well as since the TAM is so much bigger? I don't talk much about TAM here, but it just being horizontal it can be an advantage there if you can compete.
Yes, the answer is yes. Because like if you look at the pie chart of the industries using Missive, I think the biggest pot is like 6%. So it's like 6% retail, and then it's just like 5, 6, like 5.5, 5.4, and then goes on. Yeah.
It's all long tail. There's no head. It's all long tail. Yeah.
And the spread of the seats in organization as well.
Yeah.
Right. So like I think the median org is like 6, 7, but it goes like it's not like half of the customers or businesses are 7. It goes like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then slowly to like the biggest one we have now is 400 seats.
And you don't do, 400 seats, to give folks an idea, your pricing is $12 per seat, $24, and there a $48 plan or something like that? Obviously with more features. So 400 seats times any of those numbers is an enterprise plan. Yeah. Are you do it? Do you do sales calls? Like, did you do enterprise sales for that?
Well, I used to do all of them, like close them. We wouldn't go after them. It was mainly inbound, right? And usually the bigger customer are using another solution before.
Got it. Yep.
And they would know and like actively be looking for something to fix their issues, or they don't like the platform or evolve in something they didn't want. And so they're looking for an alternative. And for us, winning those deals has always been kind of easy for some reason. I know you said it should not, but we're cheaper than most of our VC-backed competitors. Not by a lot, because usually they will show a big price on their own page, but it's not actually the price people are paying. For us, it's usually the price people are paying. Like there's not a lot of, we're a small team, we don't want to negotiate. So it's like, hey, that's the price. Like if you don't want, you can go negotiate, but we won't do a quote for you to negotiate with your previous provider, right?
Yeah, no, I was asking like, do you do enterprise sales much, or is it mostly self-serve?
It's inbound, but we do close them in a like sales-ish fashion, right? So we're going to do like whatever document they need, SOC 2, security questionnaire, like meetings with IT security. We're going to do it, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, to get the big deals. And you've gotten SOC 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. How was that? A lot of tiny seed companies that I'm invested in wind up getting SOC 2. Did you find it relatively easy or relatively painful?
Yeah, so SOC 2, because we were a small team of 4 or 5, I don't remember, like adapting new processes was easy for us, right? So we just need to learn them and apply them in our stack. And we use Drata. I think there's like Drata and what's the other one? Venta, I think. Like I would not advise somebody to not use one of those solutions, right? It's just like they streamline everything. Like it's bureaucracy as a service. I can't imagine doing that without those services, because it's just like it's a couple of buttons. You get a lot of templates for the different processes. You accept them, and yeah, for us, like we had SOC 2 before we start hiring people. So when we hired people, we already had the checklist process of like, oh, what service I'm onboarding them in. They need to sign those couple of legal documents and whatnot. So,
Philippe, thanks so much for joining me on the show today. If folks want to keep up with you on the internet, you are at PLEHOUX on X Twitter, and of course, missiveapp.com if they want to see the pretty incredible company you've been bootstrapping for the last 10 years.
Mark.
Yeah. Thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks
again to Philippe for coming on the show, and thanks to you for listening this week and every week. This is Rob Walling signing off from episode 806.